We have heard of those people who think using a Ouija board is a good idea or fun. It might seem like a good idea at the time, but be careful when playing with the paranormal. You might unleash a curse that follows you for the rest of your life.
So let's jump into the top 5 scary paranormal games that will curse you.
Before we begin, you can see we have a brand new host joining us.
Woohoo!
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I would. My name is Nicholas Paleolog. I'm a new host here. I am so happy to be part of the team. Let's break into it.
Coming in at number 5, we have the Midnight Game. It is recommended that you do not try to play this game at home. The Midnight Game was created as a punishment for those who have broken the laws of pagan religion. Of course, over the years, it has turned into a risky game people play, testing to see if the consequences are real. This game is no joke, and there is a very real chance of death to those who play. To play the game, you have to follow some exact rules. You must play the game at 12 AM or it will not work. You will then need to gather some exact materials. You'll need to get a candle, a piece of paper, a writing implement, matches or a lighter, salt, a wooden door, and at least 1 drop of your own blood. If you are playing the game in a group, each person needs to have all of these materials individually. Once you have everything that is required, you need to write your full name on a piece of paper. You can then prick your finger and drop the blood onto the paper. Make sure all the lights are turned off, then place the paper on the wooden door, placing your candle on top. Knock on the door 22 times. The time must be exactly midnight on this last knock. Then open the door, blow out the candle, and close the door. You have just allowed the Midnight Man to enter your home. From this point, you may relight your candle. The game is now to avoid the Midnight Man in your completely dark home until 3:33 AM precisely. It is a risky game of hide and seek. If you are not successful in hiding from him until this time, he will torture you with your greatest fear. He will then remove your organs one by one while you're unable to stop him. You'll know the Midnight Man was here if you feel a sudden drop in temperature. You'll also know because your organs will be gone. You might see him in the corner of your eye like a shadow in the darkness. You will even hear him whispering from the shadows. If you do manage to survive until 3:33, the Midnight Man will leave your home and you will be safe. If you break any of the rules like turning on your lights or attempting to sleep, you will have lost the game and maybe your life. Again, I have to stress that you should not play this game. You have nothing to gain, but you might just lose your life. Nothing good about that.
Number 4 is one-man hide and go seek. The one-man hide and go seek is a ritual for contacting the dead. This is also considered a paranormal game you might try for fun. Wandering spirits are always looking for bodies to possess. This game is to summon these spirits but offering them the doll instead of a human body. For obvious reasons, this is kind of a risky game. The spirit could just up and decide, well, you know what, I'm gonna take your body instead of the doll you're offering. Now, to perform this ritual, you will need the following items: a stuffed doll, a needle and red thread, nail clippers, 1 sharp tool, and a bathroom with a bathtub and a counter. To start the ritual, you take the doll, clip off the pieces of your nail, and put them inside the doll. Sew the doll back up with the red thread. You will then need to tie the doll up with that thread. You will then need to fill your bathtub with water, and then find a hiding place with a cup of salt water on the ground. This should act as some kind of defense for this creature. Once all of the preparation is done, you can start the ritual. You're gonna need to give the doll a name. This can be anything but your own name. For the sake of this video, let's say Lucy. When it turns 3 AM, you say the doll's name 3 times. Lucy, Lucy, Lucy. You then need to place the doll in water. Turn off all of the lights, go to your hiding spot, and turn the TV on. Count to 10 with your eyes closed. This is when the game of hide and seek starts. Once you've counted down, go back to the doll with your sharp tool in hand, stab the doll, and say, "You're it!" This is a very weird tag. Take the doll out of the bath and place it on the counter. You can now run and hide. You now need to look out for the doll as they will be trying to find you. To end the game, you simply need to say, "I win," 3 times. It might sound like a harmless game, but if something goes wrong, it could be deadly. The soul that finds the doll might not be a happy one, and then you might have created the next Annabelle or Chucky. Alternatively, the soul might come to find the doll, but choose you instead. You could become possessed with no help of being rescued from your new hell.
Coming in at number 3 we have Candyman. I think we've all heard of the Candyman game. For anyone who doesn't know, Candyman is an urban legend or a slave who returns from the dead for revenge. To summon Candyman you need to look into your mirror and say his name 5 times. Once you have completed saying his name 5 times you will see him behind you. He will then kill you with his hook hand. Why would you call on him for that? I don't know. The tale goes that Candyman is really a man named Daniel. He worked on a plantation in New Orleans. He was a talented painter. The plantation owner chose him to paint a portrait of his daughter. Daniel fell in love with the daughter. When the plantation owner found out about their romance, he chased Daniel out of town. Armed with pitchforks, the angry mob caught up to him. They cut off his right hand, covered him in honey, and then threw him into a beehive. A little unconventional way of punishing someone. Before he passed, Daniel cursed the men and vowed to return for revenge. His spirit could never rest from this anger of how he was treated. It is said as he was in pain the mob chanted Candyman 5 times. This gave him his name. Some people have reported saying the name 5 times and seeing Candyman standing behind them covered in bees. Maybe he chose who to kill and who to spare. Either way, please don't risk it.
Number 2 is the Ouija board. The Ouija board is used by paranormal investigators to amateurs looking to contact their loved ones. The Ouija board was created on the spiritual belief that the dead can communicate with the living. This became prominent in the 19th century when people were dying on a large scale. People were searching for a way to connect to the lost loved ones to ask unresolved questions. At first, these boards were sold on every toy shelf, seen as an innocent game to connect with lost spirits. The Ouija board has changed since it first appeared in the stores, but the basics remained the same, with the alphabet listed along the top and the teardrop cursor used to answer the questions. One man named William Fuld believed completely in the board. His company bought the product and were the first to produce them. He claimed the Ouija board often spoke to him. It told him to build a new factory. He would later come to jump from that factory roof, ending his life. The Ouija, the wonderful talking board game, became a cultural staple when it hit the shelves in 1891. It started out as an innocent game. Over time, as more and more people use it, more stories came forward of demonic possessions. The Ouija board over time became an evil and demonic tool. It was pulled from toy shelves. It became the center for satanic groups and rituals. The board started to be feared. Hasbro does still own the trademark to the boards and sells them on a smaller scale. The Ouija board continues to survive and thrive even after public panic, technological advances, and several generations of users who claim it's everything from a connection tool for good to the work of a devil. So, what would you do with a Ouija board? Some people use it to connect with the lost loved ones. Others use it to see if a place is haunted, taking the board to old hospitals or abandoned buildings, hoping to connect to the spirits there. Of course, some use it for satanic rituals, hoping to make deals with the devil. Whatever you might use it for, it's all dangerous. You are opening a door and welcoming in unknown entities. They may pretend to be the loved ones that you're looking for to contact, revealing their true identity once they've latched onto you. It is something you should stay clear from. You could be releasing an evil that no one alive knows how to get rid of.
And finally, coming in at number 1 we have Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary is similar to Candyman but much more terrifying. To understand why you shouldn't summon Bloody Mary, we should first look at her origins. Mary was an accused witch. She claimed to not be though. She lived secluded in the forest selling her herbal remedies to get by. The townspeople called her Bloody Mary. They did not dare cross her path. They feared if they came too close to her then they would be cursed. It is rumored once cursed that cows would go dry in food stores would rot before winter. The little girls of the village started to disappear one by one. No one could find where they had gone. It was like they had disappeared into thin air. Grief-stricken, the family started to search the woods and local buildings. Due to lack of clues as to where the children had gone, the suspicion grew towards Bloody Mary. They believed her magic could have taken the children without a trace. One night, one of the young girls from the village awoke. She started to follow an enchanted song only she could hear. That's very hocus pocus. Her family was woken by this and tried to stop the girl. Unable to restrain her, they followed her. The whole town awoke to see what was going on. One of them noticed a glowing light from the end of the town. They went to investigate and found Mary with an enchanted staff pointing towards the girl's home. When they noticed Mary, she fled. A mob formed and gathered their weapons. One loaded his gun with silver bullets, rumored only these could kill a witch. He managed to land a bullet into Mary. She dropped to the ground. They dragged her to a bonfire, tied her up and lit the fire. As she burned, she screamed a curse at the villagers, that if she was mentioned aloud to a mirror, she would return to avenge herself. Once she was gone, they investigated her home. They found graves for each of the missing children. She had been using their blood to keep herself young. Since then, if you say Bloody Mary in a mirror 3 times, you'll be cursed by her spirit. You'll become trapped in the mirror. Your soul will burn for eternity as she did while she claims and destroys your earthly body. Her curse is not something anyone should use as a game or risk the consequences of summoning her.
Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? What paranormal games scare you the most?
Leave us your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and until next time, we'll see you later. Okay, you can do stand off to the side, I'll do this one. Is that further enough? Keep going, perfect, yeah. Just leave. No,
Get out.
Yeah. He will then remove your orchids. F***ing hell. He will then. The tale goes that Candyman is really a man named Daniel Robitaille? I don't know Candyman. Whatever, he's not real, right? The tale goes that Candyman is really innate. You think they're gonna correct me? Whatever.
Call him Daniel.
Daniel. Okay.
One man named William Fold? You think?
Oh, yeah.
Huh? What the